afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. Welcome back to another episode of Cheeky Chip Chat. Of course, the cheekiest football podcast this side of the Atlantic. Paul, how you doing today? How are we? How are we feeling this fine Thursday evening?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. You doing okay yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. We have some fantastic games to cover today, and of course, it is a deep fried doubleheader. We kind of relish these episodes sometimes because it's nice to have some massive games popping up on the same weekend. It really creates for a great weekend of football and a lot of fun stuff for us to talk about on today's show. So, without further ado, do you want to just dive in?
Yeah. Coach is all familiar with the Klassiker, by the way, Rahul.
That
All
is
four coaches we
that is
talk about today.
very true. Very true. I didn't even think about that. And conveniently, Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp managing opposite sides. I didn't even think about that. Very good, Paul. Very good. Astute observation. I mean, since you've thrown in a tidbit, I may as well throw in my tidbit. I learned. I always like to research a little bit about these teams. When I was writing on my notes, I noticed I always write BVB. BVB. It's on the crest, BVB. You know, you see it sometimes. It's just written, yep, right there on Paul's jersey, BVB. And you wonder, hang on a second. I mean, what is BVB? Why is it called BVB? Well, I looked it up, and apparently it stands for, in German, Ballspielverein Borussia, which means Borussia Ball Club. So fun fact, that's why it's BVB.
Okay.
So I learned something. Yeah, it was very educational preparation for the show. So
That's why we're here, you know. That's why I'm here. That's literally why I'm here.
It's always good to learn something new. Yeah, this was a good game. It was set up to be a good game from the beginning with these lineups. Both teams going for more or less the same shape. It appeared a 4-2-3-1. Paul, anything you would like to talk about with the lineups? I know something interesting in Bayern's defense for sure. If we want to start with Bayern Munich,
We can start with Bayern Munich. Where did you want to start? With Sarr or Hernandez?
yeah, I was kind of thinking of Sarr. I mean, at least Hernandez. When the reason we're not used to seeing him there is because he spent most of the last year injured. So that's why. I mean, he can play center back, but he can also play left back. So that wasn't as much of a surprise as Sarr slotting in at right back. I mean, of course, I believe Benjamin Pavard was not available, so Sarr slotted in, and an interesting decision to play him in such a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we talked way long ago. I don't remember the last time we covered a Bayern Munich game, but we talked about how their defense they're having some difficulties in defense. It might have been even last season, and we're still seeing it a little bit this season. Sula's still out, not available. Now Alphonso Davies is out and Pavard is out. So we're again seeing Bayern Munich struggle with a little bit of defensive questioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was good to see Sarr get some games. I love Hernandez playing on that other side. We don't get to see him a lot because Alphonso Davies is usually in that role, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I was excited to see him more than Sarr in this game because I wanted to see what he could do against a formidable front three from Dortmund,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And
Formidable.
I'm sure that formidable front three was licking their chops at the chance to test both of these fullbacks. Probably more so Sarr than Hernandez, especially with Sarr. I mean, I was listening to some of the analysis before the game. Them saying he likes to get forward a lot more, leaving a little bit more space. So I'm sure they were licking their chops at this opportunity. But other than that, seeming pretty standard from Bayern, Goretzka, Kimmich, Muller, Gnabry, Coman, Lewandowski, all names that we've seen before. Go ahead.
Now, sorry, question about Sarr. Because I don't know. I missed the very beginning of the game, and they might have said this. Was this his first start for Bayern Munich?
I don't know if this was. It may have been. I know this is definitely his first Klassiker. So I mean, even if it wasn't his first Bundesliga start, which I believe it was, this would have been a big game to get your debut if it was.
Because they did just pick him up from Marseille, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering.
Okay. And then on the Dortmund side, of course, the big one for us, of course, being Gio Reyna getting the start at left midfielder over there. Of course, the American. Paul, you're a big fan of the USMNT. Unfortunately, we're unable to get on the score sheet today. I saw that they played
No.
Wales for the first time. Their first
Yep.
game in 285 days, I think it was. Unable to get on the score sheet, but Reyna definitely part of that young USMNT contingent that people are getting excited about.
Yeah, I want to say this is his first or second call up since kind of dropping onto the scene. I don't know. The last international break, US men's national team didn't play at all, right?
Yeah,
So this might be his first game. This might have been his first game in the colors of the United States. Love to see him in the Dortmund lineup. You say he's playing a left mid. He's playing more of a left winger role. He's very
yeah.
attacking minded, and really there just to set up Holland. I love seeing Marco Royce in this starting lineup. Marco Royce, I feel, doesn't get enough love nowadays. Nowadays, I feel like he's
Well,
a
I
little
mean, he
fallen
spends a
off.
lot
Right?
of time on the injury table, doesn't he? So, I mean,
I
that's
understand.
probably why.
I understand, Rojo. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I love me some Marco Royce. He's the reason that I. Sorry, I am just adjusting my chair here.
You're fine.
He's
You're
the
fine.
reason that. He's the reason that I'm a big Dortmund fan. And
Getting all hot
not a
and
big.
heavy over there thinking about Marco Royce. I get it, Paul. I get it. It's okay. I too enjoyed watching the link up between Giovanni Reyna, Gio Reyna,
Yep. Yep.
and Erling Haaland in this game. It was a particular joy to watch those two. The intuition, the timing of the runs, the timing of the passing. It was very impressive for two very young players. So I just wanted to call that out. And let's get into the first half, shall we?
Let's do it.
Bayern definitely looking to pin Borussia Dortmund in their own half, committing lots of numbers forward and playing a higher line than Dortmund did. Dortmund, of course, looking to find passes into that space left behind the Bayern high line. And finding a little bit of success doing that early on. We talked a little bit about how they may have been licking their chops at the chance to exploit Sarr, and I definitely noticed in that space, kind of if we picture where Sarr would be playing right back, standing in front of that box, if we shift him up maybe 20 yards, that space that he leaves in behind, and a little bit inside, they were definitely targeting that space with those passes. Erling Haaland getting on the end of tons of them. As well as Reyna as well, and they were interchanging quite nicely, as I said, but unable to find the back of the net early on.
Yeah, I mean, we going into it, if you've been watching Dortmund play the past few years, especially when Erling Haaland came in last season, their kind of MO is very Liverpool-esque, where they put a lot of balls over the top and try to get in behind. And Erling Haaland, I think he was picked up the highest or the fastest speed of any runner in this game.
Which is
The
nuts,
commentators,
given some
which
of the
is crazy.
speedsters that you have on the field here.
Exactly. And Dortmund love exploiting that, right? And we know Erling Haaland is a natural finisher. This was not his best game. I will put that out there right now.
Definitely not,
Um,
yeah.
Goal aside, right? I think he missed some very good chances that he would probably normally put away. And I think you're absolutely right in saying that, especially with Jerome Boateng, not the fastest of them all, right? They were exploiting that Sar Boateng combo right there. The only thing that saved him at the very, very beginning of the game was having Joshua Kimmich there,
Yeah,
right? And I
exactly.
know and I know we'll get to the game changing moment in my opinion, but no, seriously,
I
it
knew you were
switched
gonna
like
call it
that.
out. I wrote it down.
It switched like that. It really did. And I think before that, Bayern had full control of the game. Like you
Hmm.
said, playing that high line. Yes, letting Erling Haaland get in, letting Gio Reyna and Jaden Sancho kind of play him those balls. I thought Jaden Sancho, especially in the first 30 minutes or so, was playing more of an assisting role. I would love to have seen him get a little bit more on the attack.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed with Jaden Sancho in this game overall. I wish he had been a little bit more direct and involved. Maybe that was a tactical thing, so I'm not going to pin the whole thing on him, because if he was told to play drop deep and try and help us, play those transition passes and we're in counterattacking, that's just the role he was told to play. And if anything, then he should be applauded for following the manager instructions. But definitely unfortunate that Erling Haaland wasn't able to get any of those. He was playing those same kinds of shots, those slow drag shots along the ground, trying to maybe sneak one past Neuer where, it just clips the post and goes into the back of the net, but unable to find any early on. One thing I noted was on set pieces, especially because Bayern were applying so much pressure on the other end of the pitch. Dortmund need to be really careful on set pieces. I noticed it. I think it was on a corner because they're looking to get forward so quickly, and it's very good that that's the case because they're looking. That means that they exploit the team in transition to its fullest, right? So on that hand, it's good. But on the other hand, you need to make sure, and I think Taylor Twellman mentioned it in commentary. He said most set piece goals are scored from the second passage of play, not from the initial thing, but from the second passage of play. So you need to be switched on. And when you're switched on, constantly looking to go the other direction, you can be in the wrong mindset. And what I'm talking about is when I noticed Erling Haaland and Mats Hummels were both like completely asleep, and they were looking to go the other way. And I think it was Goretzka who had an open header on goal because neither Mats Hummels nor Erling Haaland were there to mark him. And Roman Burki had to, for one of the many times in this game, pull out a world-class save to keep Dortmund from going down. I mean, this could have been a really ugly scoreline. I mean, it could have been a very like a tennis scoreline if the Erling Haaland and Roman Burki both if Erling Haaland had scored more and Roman Burki had let in more goals. But definitely Roman Burki, shout out for a fantastic game, for not conceding as many goals as you probably could have and would have been forgiven for doing because of just how lethal Bayern were on the attack. Just wanted to call them out on set pieces. Stay awake.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because I, watching the game, didn't really think of that, and just might be the way we view the game differently. And that's like, I'm glad you mentioned that because you're absolutely right. Dortmund are always trying to play it real quick out of the back, and if you fall asleep on those corners, like you said, second passage of play, those balls are going to get in.
They're gonna get past you, exactly. 23rd minute. And I the only reason I mentioned this is because I wrote it down prior to it being called back for offside. But can we just talk about how world-class of a move this was? Jerome Boateng plays a great ball into right midfield, right on the center line with over to Kingsley Coman, who then takes a touch and then plays a swinging ball into the path of a running Serge Gnabry into space, who then runs with the ball for maybe 10 yards and then puts in a beautiful cross for a sliding Lewandowski, puts it in with what we all thought was 1-0, but Lewandowski just a hair offside when Gnabry crosses that ball, gets called back. But Bayern firing a warning shot middle of the first half and kind of showing, not for the first time, that they can really, really, really hurt you.
Yeah. Letting them know, don't sleep on us. This is the best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
And just that passage of play, like you said, is called offsides. Just that passage of play shows how quickly things can change in that game, and Bayern can turn it on at any second. Serge Gnabry is so fast down the line, right? And he's put it in those nice crosses into Lewandowski. And if I would like anybody at the end of a cross, it's Robert Lewandowski, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So,
or Ronaldo, but yes. I agree.
Or Ronaldo. Fine, Rahul. Whatever, man. Whatever.
I gotta throw it in there, man. I can't let you just have this. Also,
You
shout
win
out to Cristiano Ronaldo, 100 wins for Portugal. And ties Ferenc Puskás for his goal scoring records. I think he's on 746. So congratulations.
Who they play? Moldova?
Sweden? I think it was Sweden. I could be wrong. You can fact check me, but
Sweden. Yeah,
it was Sweden. Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the 44th minute. Dortmund snatching the lead.
Andorra yesterday. Sorry, Andorra yesterday.
Oh, it was Andorra? Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. We really tried. I tried to give him Sweden. It's okay. It's okay. 44th minute, Paul. Dortmund snatching the lead. You want to go through this?
Yeah.
Their first goal.
So I'm trying. Yeah, no. I was trying to think of. So Axel Witsel. Was it Axel Witsel who plays the first pass in?
Well,
That just
I'm gonna start this off by saying Sarr plays a very poor pass into midfield that gets intercepted, and that's what starts this whole thing off because I think Jadon Sancho is the one who intercepts it. Of course, dropping deep, and then they exploit that right side or that left side. Sorry, with that was it right side?
sorry. Yeah, no. Well, it was
Their
the left side
their
for
left side.
Dortmund.
Yeah,
Dortmund's left side,
their
right?
left side without Joshua Kimmich. By the way, if you want to go through the Joshua Kimmich thing, we can go through it right after we go through this goal because I realized that now Joshua Kimmich at this point is out of the game and we can go back and cover that. But exploiting that right side after Joshua Kimmich, who got injured and had to go off and was replaced by Corentin Tolisso, exploiting that left side. Coman needs to be back there helping out his fullback. And this is kind of the issue here is Bayern's right side kind of got exposed here because Coman likes to play up on the touchline or up on the halfway line because he likes to start that counter attack once Bayern win the ball back. He likes to start the counter attack, so he's pressing. Kimmich is out of the game, so you can't trust Tolisso to mark as well as Kimmich does. You just can't. And Sarr probably his first de Klassiker, he just has no idea what he's doing. So you combine all those three things on the same side. What you get is Dortmund becoming vintage Barcelona, playing all these beautiful triangle passages to play very quickly up the left-hand side. Rafael Guerreiro slipping in unseen, and that's why I'm calling out Kingsley Coman because it's his job to track the fullback on that side, and he wasn't doing it. And so Rafael Guerreiro gets in very sneakily. Jadon Sancho plays it into him. He cuts back. Marco Reus in the box, Paul, the man you called out earlier.
Yep.
1-0.
One timer. I think so. Here's my initial thought when I saw this goal was Marco Reus, or at least the initial playback of the goal. Marco Reus knows that in this game, Manuel Neuer is boss, and the only way you're going to get it past him, which we saw plenty of times this game, not like just straight shots at the goal, Manuel Neuer is going to block him. Marco Reus, no problem. First timer near post kind of throws him off a little bit. And I think Manuel Neuer is not expecting it first time. Marco Reus knows that. And 1-0. Marco Reus is the only active Bundesliga player to have the most goals against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I did see that. Now, like you said, the only way you're going to beat Neuer, quick passages of play, quick shots, catching him off guard, or running in behind and getting around him because sometimes his positioning can be quite poor, if we're being honest. Let's call a spade here. When you're playing sweeper keeper, sometimes you're going to get caught with that on your face. So
he gets caught out a little bit later today.
That's why I said it.
You're not wrong.
But going back to Joshua Kimmich's injury, he kind of play. It's like you play, DJ Khaled, you played yourself. That's kind of what ends up happening here. Because I mean, if I'm being honest, my sympathy for Joshua Kimmich is a little limited here because the way he was, of course, the Dortmund were breaking on a counterattack through Erling Haaland. Kimmich throws his leg directly laterally at Haaland's knee. He could tear his ACL if he's not careful. The way he went in. So my sympathy for him getting injured on this play is a little limited. I'm going to be honest. It shows kind of a freak of nature Erling Haaland is to stay on his feet and maintain possession of the ball. But any thoughts on this particular thing and the implications?
I mean, Joshua Kimmich knows that he has to make an attempt to tackle the ball, right? And it's obviously a clear break. I even think a couple of seconds later in the Bayern half might even be looking at a red card possibly there, depending on the severity of the tackle. Obviously, that's not the case. Happens in the Dortmund half, and there are people back to help.
It wasn't the last man thing.
But like you said, no sympathy for him. He did tear his meniscus, and he is out for 2 months.
Ooh,
so he did just have surgery. So that's
a rough one.
Yeah, it's a little karma for you, obviously, but
obviously wishing him a speedy recovery because you never like to see players get injured. As much as I have little sympathy for you, I don't like seeing you get injured.
And Bayern's having a lot of players injured recently, and this is just as important of a player, if not more important, than Alphonso Davies getting injured.
I think probably more important, honestly, because Lucas Hernandez did a fine job at left back, as we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah, no, I mean, Joshua Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich is one of the most important players in the Bayern squad right now, and I think he holds that midfield together, and especially that right hand side. Right, we're sorry. That's the game switches after Joshua Kimmich gets injured.
Definitely. I wrote 48th minute initially, and then I had to cross it out because there was another goal in the real 48th minute. So really, we're going to call it 45 plus 3. 45 plus 3. Bayern equalized from a free kick. How cheeky was this? They have 4 guys on the free kick, and all of them are involved because Lewandowski runs over it. Serge Gnabry is on the right side of it, passes it left to Muller, who touches it and slides it back slightly for Alaba, who runs in and smashes it, deflects it off of Meunier, who's coming off the edge of the wall, and it finds its way into the back of the net. Berkey can do nothing about it. Right on the edge of halftime, Bayern equalize. Huge goal.
Yeah, huge. Right, going into the half, you want to be at least equal to the other team, and I think that David Alaba is the one you want taking that kick from that angle.
Mm-hmm.
And did it take a deflection?
It took a deflection, yeah.
Right, it did take a deflection.
Totally
unfortunate. Matt Hummels is right there in goal. Can't do anything about it. Great free. I love free kicks, Rahul. You know I love free kicks.
I do too, and I you know where sometimes you have a feeling. You just got a feeling deep down that like something special is gonna happen here. I had that feeling before they took this free kick. I was like, I got a feeling something's gonna happen here. And what I mean, I didn't expect this, but I mean, and it found its way to the back of the net, and I'm like, my word, that is a well drilled team. So, props to them. Go into the half 1-1.
1-1.
And come out the second half. Jadon Sancho immediately starting much more direct, much more incisive, and I was very impressed until 3 minutes later, when on the ensuing counterattack, Bayern go up 2-1.
Yep. Here's who I started to blame initially, right? Because we go back to Erling Haaland having not the greatest game ever. It's his very, very poor hold-up play that starts the move for Bayern.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a world-class striker, especially in a fixture like this, you have to be much better than that. You know Bayern's defense is going to be physical, and they just put him off the ball so easily. And that starts that counterattack. And am I thinking of the no, it is that one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because he did link up with the rest of his players so well when he did drop deep, right? So his link up play was good, but when he himself is tasked with holding up the ball with as big of a physical specimen as he is, in some cases he did a good job, like with Joshua Kimmich when he, managed to stay on his feet. And in some cases he didn't. And in like you said, in fixtures like this, when you're playing against the best team in the world, the instances where you don't, you will get punished. And that's exactly what happened when Serge Gnabry played the ball wide left to Lucas Hernandez. We talked about. Good to see him in the starting lineup. Crosses it beautifully.
Yep.
Who do you want on the end of that cross?
Exactly.
Robert Lewandowski heading it in for 2-1. It was quite gorgeous of a goal. It was very nice.
It's because it goes that far post, and it's like, ooh.
And it was Berkey was he almost had. I felt so bad for him. It's like I was trying to think of an analogy. It's like when you're walking in the morning, and you walk up to your cupboard and you want your cereal, and your cereal's on the top shelf, and then you open the cupboard, but you didn't put the cereal back properly last time, so it starts to fall off the shelf. And like you're diving for it, but it's falling just out of your reach, and you're not gonna get it. That's kind of what it was like.
That crap moment. I understand. I understand.
Cool. So Kingsley Coman, I want to talk a little bit about him because personally, if I'm Bayern Munich, I'm starting Leroy Sané over Kingsley Coman. I think Leroy Sané, personally for me, offers a little bit more dynamism, consistency. For me, if it was my team. Now I understand Coman's been a mainstay, played very well in the Champions League final, so I get it. I get why he has his place in the starting lineup, and he did start to play better in the second half. I thought in the first half that there were some opportunities where he can sometimes be a frustrating player to watch. But in the second half, played a lot better. Crashed a shot off the post. In the 50th minute, 52nd minute. He has a cross shot that almost goes in, forces a save out of Roman Burki. If you're Hans Dieter Flick, right? Are you starting Leroy Sané or Kingsley Coman?
I think moving forward, you're gonna start Leroy Sané. I think he's got to be the starter there. I think the reason he hasn't been so far just came in, just got off injury,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, fair.
And they had to play him in a little bit. But seeing the way he's being producing the past few games for them, I think he's going to be in that starting lineup
I
moving
mean, because he
forward,
was a game
especially.
changer when he came on. I mean,
Absolutely.
it was like so much more dynamism down that right hand side. And I'm like, why didn't we have this in the first half? It was,
No.
yeah,
He also, and I know Coman allows this ability too, but I think having Sane and Nabry play simultaneously, they're going to be able to swap wings consistently. And
yes,
I think that's going to be very dangerous for Bayern, especially when you have someone who is lethal with crosses as Robert Lewandowski in the middle.
yeah. Yeah, it's a to add someone like Leroy Sané to Bayern Munich is just scary. Now, as Dortmund started to chase the game, right? Bayern continued to apply pressure, and so what I want to call out is the same thing Taylor Twellman was calling out on the commentary, which is Dortmund's center backs stayed back to deal with Bayern's attack, right? But they were so desperate to try and get that equalizing goal that the likes of Marco Reus and Axel Witsel and the three forwards all went so far forward that there was just this gulf. I mean, probably I'll call it I'll give them the center backs, the fullbacks, and Miguel Delaney. I'll give them five. So you basically had five guys back here. You had two burger joints. You had five guys over here. You had five guys over here, and you have this gulf in the middle where there's nobody. It's like a barren wasteland, and so you can't play passes in transition when there's nobody to transition through the field. And so it's twofold. They called out the fact that it was easy for Bayern to play through them, which is true because you basically have this gulf of space where there's no Dortmund players, so that's fair. But on the flip side, when Dortmund does get position, they can't play out because they constantly lose it because they don't have an open pass because of the way. And you notice the likes of Royce standing on the edge of the Bayern back line. Royce needs to be dropping a little bit deeper for me, playing that more creative role. Now, again, I don't know if that was a tactical thing or if that's if that was the players just kind of getting a little bit into the spirit of the Klassiker and really thinking that they had to win it. But I had to call him out for it because I was like, I don't know what you guys are doing now. I mean, they've made subs and the team shape improved after the subs, but at least for a good 15, 20 minutes, I was like, what the heck are you guys doing?
Not winning the game. That's the answer, Rahul, right? Though I thought after Bayern's second goal there, it really picked up, right? Or his second goal, maybe even third goal? No, second goal. It really
Second goal.
picked up. Dortmund really picked up the pace, and they had so many chances at the latter half of the second half.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to go on and win it, but you can't sleep on Bayern because a second later, you're going to switch on Leroy Sané, like we mentioned. He's going to do what he's going to do, right? Cut it in from that left wing or from the right wing. Fairly, it reminds me of an old Bayern player, Arjen
Arjen
Robben.
Robben.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we always say you're going to be punished when you don't put your chances away, right? And like you said, Dortmund, after they made their subs, the team shape got a lot better, started to create tons of opportunities, the likes of Torgan Hazard. I mean, coming in for Jadon Sancho and playing a lot better, in my opinion. But creating tons of opportunities, but not putting any of them in the back of the net. And so that's what enables Leroy Sané to be like, okay, you guys aren't going to do it. I'm going to do it. Leon Goretzka winning the ball. It's a two-pass move. It is two passes for them to score this goal. Leon Goretzka wins the ball from a miscontrol on the edge of his own box, plays it square up the middle of the park to Lewandowski, who wins it maybe just on his side of the center circle, runs directly forward, and then plays it out wide right to Leroy Sané. And like you said, he cuts in from the right and scores. And it's a meg of a shot. He megs the defender and slots it in the corner. It's a ridiculous goal. And that's why Bayern's the best team in the world right now.
Yes. I agree with everything you just said. I have nothing to add, man. Because you can't let Bayern do that and expect to win. And especially if you're Dortmund and you're thinking, I want to win the league, right? How are you going to win the league if you cannot beat the current league champion
Well, and the thing with these games is it's almost like a six
at home?
pointer, right? Because it's 3 points you don't get, and it's 3 points
Hmm.
they do. So when it's like it's twofold. So it's a big blow for them for sure in terms of a title race. Of course, getting a little bit of a consolation. Bayern starting to sit off a little bit after scoring that third goal, getting that 2-goal cushion with only 10 minutes left. Royce is able to find Guerrero drifting centrally. He plays a fantastic pass over the top for Erling Haaland, who finally, for the first time in this game, shows why we call him a world-class striker. Because the 2 touches around Manuel Neuer, finally getting around Manuel Neuer. It seemed like he was trying to do it the entire game, finally able to do it. Slots it into the empty net for 3-2. Go ahead.
There's a little law of averages, I think.
He's going to miss so many, you might as well score one of them at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to take so many shots. He's bound to score one of them.
That's fair. That's fair. And then finally, 92nd minute, I just want to call it out. Because Lewandowski's beautifully off the ground chip shot disallowed for offside again, but it would have been so cheeky for him to score yet again against his former club.
The cheekiest of chips.
Yes, with the cheekiest of chips. But
yeah, a lot of players going back. I mean, Mats Hummels on Dortmund, Lewandowski on Bayern.
Yeah.
That's why this rivalry has something to it. It's got a little oomph.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Paul, you want to quickly move over to City Liverpool? Much less to cover on this game, but still some interesting points I want to get through.
Yeah, let's real quick. I'm game.
So, obviously, we know City Liverpool, the two juggernauts that have been going up against each other the last few years. One of my least favorite fixtures of the season, because I wish they could both get 0 points, but that's not possible. Paul, I'm trying to. I was thinking about it earlier today. What is the equivalent fixture for you? Like, I have City Liverpool, and I absolutely despise both of these teams. Is it Spurs versus Chelsea for you, or is it Spurs versus United for you?
No, it's Spurs Chelsea.
Spurs Chelsea, right?
Yeah,
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
So whenever that happens, you know my pain. But let's just start with formations, and then I have a couple of tactical things that I want to point out, and one person in particular I want to call out. If we start with Liverpool, for some reason they played a 4-2-4. I don't know why. I disagreed with it, and for about 25 minutes in the game, I was wrong. And then I think for the other 65 minutes, I was correct in asking why they played this formation. But Gomez and Matip at the back. Of course, Van Dijk out for the season. Wijnaldum and Henderson has to hold down the midfield, and then playing a front 4 of Mane, Salah, Firmino, and Jota. And then, of course, City playing the tried and true 4-3-3 that we've seen under Pep Guardiola. Gabriel Jesus starting up front. The midfield with Gundogan, Rodrigo, and KDB. The only question mark I have here is why the heck is Torres starting? Is Ferran Torres starting on the right wing instead of Bernardo Silva? But, I guess they wanted to try it. So
did not work.
I called out a few things, and I ended up being right about both of them. This one being one of them. So
now, to your Liverpool point, I think that Klopp just wanted something a little bit more attack-minded. I thought you'd be happy with Firmino in that number 10 role because you hate him in that striker position. So
he wasn't playing the number 10 role. That was the problem. He kept finding himself in the number 9 role, and I was like, now you're just playing a 4-2-4. Like, you're literally playing, because otherwise it would have been more of a 4-2-3-1 with Firmino dropping deep, which I think is what Who Scored had it at, right? I think they said it was a 4-2-3-1, but de facto in the game it was a 4-2-4. And I was like, why are we playing like this? Because, and again, okay, fine. We've already started talking about this. I'm going to call him out right now. I'm going to call his out right now. Roberto Firmino, you should not be playing in this game if you're playing solid striker. I'm sorry. You pick one. You pick one and you sub the other on. Or you play Salah on right wing and bring Jota on in the second half. You do not play all 4 of these guys at once. It doesn't make any sense. Because if you're going to take one of them out, it has to be Roberto Firmino for me, because Jota's in too good a form. He had just scored a hat trick midweek playing against whoever the heck they destroyed like 6-0 or something.
Who was it?
Was it Roma? I think it was Roma. I forget who
I
it
don't
was.
remember.
Whoever it was,
I'll
he
look
scored a hat trick. So you're not dropping him. Okay. This season so far, he's a number 9, by the way. He's one Premier League goal, which is tied for 46th in the league. That means 45 other players, some of whom are center backs, by the way, have scored. Atalanta. 45 other players, some of whom are center backs, by the way, have scored more goals than him this season in 8 appearances. 2 assists, a little bit better. Maybe expecting a little more output from him on that front, given the quality of forwards that he's playing with and linking up with, which is tied for 11th in the league. He has an XG of 1.85, which is actually 0.85 less, which is 0.85. Yeah, it's 0.85 more than what he's actually scored, which means he's not being clinical in front of goal because he should have scored 0.85 more goals than he has. And he has an XA, an expected assist, of 1.04, which means actually he's 0.96 under the amount of assists he got, which normally you would think is a good thing because you're like, oh, he was only expected to get 1.04 assists, but he has 2. But all that really means is that you assisted a fluke goal. That's all that means. And you're relying on your forwards to be much more clinical than statistics suggest that they will be. So I gotta be honest, if I'm dropping one of these 4, it's you. And I don't know why you played. And I think that honestly cost Liverpool the 3 points here because I think if they played their 4-3-3, they win this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I think it's an interesting choice to change up your tried and true formation for such an important game. That's my thing, right? Why do you, if you have something that's been working for you, why do you change it up?
And it's a big game too. Like you know this is like the biggest game of the season for you. So I'm like, why are you? I don't know why they changed. I don't know why they changed.
That's why I think he went for it because he thought he wanted a little bit more of attacking, and I think those 4 offer that for you if played the right way. And I just don't think they.
Exactly. So I mean, we'll get into it a little bit here. Liverpool started obviously dominating the ball. Like I said, the first 25 minutes it was all Liverpool, pressing really well. I was impressed with how well this formation pressed because like you said, with the 4-2-4, the midfield becomes a little sparse. So everybody has to work really hard to cover all the gaps if you're going to have that luxury of having the 4 forwards. And they did really well for the first little bit of it, targeting especially Rodrigo and Gundogan. But after 25 minutes, Paul, a certain world-class midfielder started to find just a little bit of space. Sooner or later, you come to terms with the fact that 3 midfielders is more than 2 midfielders. And sooner or later, Kevin De Bruyne is going to find that space between Wijnaldum and Robertson down that right-hand side in that little pocket, that same kind of pocket that Dortmund were targeting. It's that same little pocket, except Wijnaldum and Henderson are pressing, so they're out of position, unlike a Joshua Kimmich who was coming back to defend those runs. So what's happening is Kevin De Bruyne is finding those beautiful little spaces, and instead of Liverpool's runs being way in behind or in the space between the center circle and the box, City's runs are going straight into the box. So Kevin De Bruyne is whipping in these beautiful crosses in to the likes of Raheem Sterling, into the likes of Gabriel Jesus, and eventually finds the opening goal doing just that with Gabriel Jesus. A little bit of what I thought was a miscontrol. It doesn't really matter in the end of it. A little bit of a miscontrolled back heel around Trent Alexander-Arnold. It was not his fault that they conceded that goal, for the record. And Toe pokes it in for was it 1-1?
It was 1-1 at that point because Salah had the penalty.
Sorry, I missed the penalty. Yeah, they conceded a penalty because Kyle Walker. Yeah, that was the other thing. So during Liverpool's dominant passage of play in the first 25 minutes, Sadio Mane cutting in past Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker, really poor position. Just poor. What are you doing?
You got to know better. We always type Kyle Walker up. Did you see? I can't remember who's ran. I think it was Robbie Keane's rant on Kyle Walker, but I don't remember exactly. But yeah, he should know better. Easy penalty, and then Salah slots it away. I really like that back shot from the from where you can see it right as he runs up to the ball. That was a really good camera shot, in my opinion.
KDB though, not his best game, missing a penalty if you can believe it, missing a penalty from Kevin De Bruyne. So, I mean, at least Bruno Fernandes scores his penalties. That's all I'm going to say. But
So if I had to sum up this game, Rahul, and I know pundits don't usually go here, if it wasn't raining, this game would have been more like Der Klassiker, I think. But it was just so sloppy from both sides. You know, City wasn't as crisp as they usually are. Um, Liverpool wasn't. Both teams were not crisp, and I don't want to leave it up to the rain because like everyone has to play in the rain.
uh-huh.
But I think in dry weather, it would have been the banger it was supposed to be.
I can agree with you partially on that. I think the weather would have definitely helped this game, but I mean, ultimately, I think that if we had to sum it up, it's Liverpool dominated the first 25. City started to find space, especially with De Bruyne. From that point, they built into the end of the first half. And then in the second half, Liverpool decided to finally send their wingers back to defend. They had already thrown 4 of their best forwards on in the first half, so there was no one to bring on as fresh legs in the second half to change the game, other than Xherdan Shaqiri, who's really not going to change the game, if we're being honest with ourselves. So, I mean, Liverpool were never really going to do anything, and at that point it became City trying to attack and break down Liverpool's defense, who were trying to hit them on the break with forwards that were tired. So at that point, it was written in the stars that it was going to be a 1-1, and that's what it ended up being. So it was disappointing in some ways, but I think, honestly, big missed opportunity for Liverpool for me. And honestly, City probably could have won this game if they were a little bit more clinical, and if Raheem Sterling wasn't such a ball hog. Because let's be honest, there were lots of opportunities where he should have passed rather than trying to run and score, and he just didn't do it. So,
classic Raheem.
Classic Sterling.
City in 10th place after this weekend, and then Liverpool in 3rd. So that just speaks to City is not. They look tired.
I mean, perhaps that was Klopp's thing. Is like, hey, you guys need the points more than we do. Here, we'll hold you to a draw, and we'll just see how that goes, because it's safer for us to hold you to a draw because we know we can do it than try and go for the win and get caught out. So maybe that was his thinking. I don't know. Maybe some pragmatism from the German, but
classic.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But no, that's gonna do it. This game ended 1-1, City versus Liverpool. I think that's gonna do it for our deep fried double header.
Yeah.
Would you like to do 20 questions, Paul?
Yeah, if you have one ready to go, we'll go ahead and do it.
Okay, let's do it. 20 questions, 15 seconds per question, and you are going to try and figure out the player whom I have come up with.
Aha, it's a player. That's one less question for me. No, I'm just joking.
Fair enough. See how you played that one.
Is this a current player?
Yes, it is.
Do they play in England?
No, they do not.
Do they play in Spain?
Yes, they do.
All right. Do they play for one of the 3 big clubs in Spain?
Yes, they do.
Do they play for Atletico?
Did you ask if they were a player? I'm trying to keep track of this as 2 or 3.
Yeah. So I got so this is my 4th question here. Do they play for Atletico?
No.
Do they play for Barcelona?
No.
So they play for Real Madrid. All right. Fair enough. All right. So Real Madrid player. Is this a attacker for Real Madrid?
No.
Is this a defender?
Yes.
Is this player European?
No.
Is this player Brazilian?
Yes.
Is it Marcelo?
No.
Ooh, is it Adair? Is that his name?
His first name.
Oh, I don't know his last name. He just goes by Adair, doesn't he?
I'll give it to you. Fine, I'll give it
Who
to
is
you.
it?
It's okay. It's Eder
Adair,
Militao.
wait. Oh, Militao. Okay. All right.
I'll give it to you.
Fair enough.
That was a quick one.
Adair Militao. Hey, follow us at Cheeky Chip Chat on all our social medias. That's Twitter and Instagram at Cheeky Chip Chat. Just Cheeky Chip Chat on Facebook. Also go to cheekychipchat.com. Check me out at Cheeky Paul on Twitter. Check Rahul out at the Rahuligan on Twitter. Yeah, check us out on social media. Give us a like. Give us a follow.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Hit a like on this video.
Well done, man.
I got it, man. I got it.
You got them all. I was very impressed. Well done. Thank you all so much for tuning in this week. We would like to thank our friends at Purple Planet Music for providing the intro for this week. The intro music for this week. You can check them out at purple-planet.com. So once again, thank you for joining us. We are the cheekiest football podcast this side of the Atlantic. And we will see you next week for more cheekiness, shenanigans. And until then, we hope you, too, will keep it cheeky. Take care.